Hey, what's going on? This is Chris here from Apex CEOs, where we show affiliates and business owners how to utilize content and direct messaging to build relationships extremely fast and close sales. In this video, we're going to show you exactly how to extract $5,000 from a prospect by breaking down a conversation I had from somebody that had reached out to me from my content. We're going to show exactly step by step how I went through that conversation. We're going to give you perspectives. We're going to give you beliefs around people that conversate with you and show you exactly how I went through the flow and the process to then close that deal. So without further ado, go ahead and make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and let's get into it.
Chris received a content compliment from this particular lead in the conversation. And you want to know, okay, like I'm getting engagement, I'm getting leads, I'm getting people who are reaching out to me based on my content and saying nice things about it. How can I turn them into a sale, into a customer, to a client? Chris will be going through his conversation, and then I'll just offer my perspectives and yeah, just give my thoughts on what's going on and just point out some key details I think will be very valuable and beneficial to everyone. So
awesome. So let me go ahead and share my screen, guys, and we'll get right into it. I'm super excited to get Jordan's input on this because this is one of my conversations back in 2020, by the way. And then something really cool at the end we'll show you. If you guys stick around, you'll see how this whole thing played out into a bigger picture. By the way, guys, this is a cold lead. I've never interacted with this person before. You'll see we're using our conversation checkpoints, frameworks, recognizing language patterns. We're able to turn this simple compliment into a $5,000 close. So let me just go ahead and read down right here. This is the very beginning opening of the whole entire conversation. I've never interacted with this person in my life at this point. They swept into the conversation saying, "Hey man, I love your content and your perspective on business, especially around affiliate marketing. I'm still new to it though, but it's definitely something I want to move away from." Just to give you context of this, back then I was showing affiliates how they can actually put together their own coaching programs and whatnot. That's why he said I'm trying to move away from it. But there was still some things that had to be done. And you'll see here if you guys stick around with this. So I said, "Hey Ray, thanks for connecting. Glad you like what I have to say. Can't be an affiliate forever if you want to have business and make that good money. Haha. How long you been doing affiliate marketing?" He responds with, "I've been on Facebook for about 2 months, man, but I've been dabbling with biz since last year." He's doing all sorts of random stuff, he says. And he says, "But yeah, I still got a lot of basic skills to work on." So he's very self-aware that the skill set needs to be worked on. I said, "Good stuff. How are you?" The arrows in front of the way with the marketing. "Are you promoting a course?" Okay, so now I'm asking him a question. Okay, so from what I can see in my perspective of this conversation going into it was that he likes my thoughts, my philosophies on what I'm saying in my content, right? And that is pretty much pre-selling him on the idea of me and what I do. Okay. And from there, I was able to take this conversation and really, I didn't even have to go into like building rapport, which you can see how powerful content can be and help you accelerate that sales process. Just went straight into like how long you've been doing affiliate marketing, getting that information. And that's really setting me up to understand like where I should take this conversation based on that information.
I think what's really cool about this conversation in particular is look at how many messages or text messages that this person is sending to Chris, because this tells me a few things. Like number one, they already have high buy-in temperature in the conversation. This is something that we talk about a lot with our clients is look at the people who are engaging in the conversation. Like how many messages are they sending, right? How fast are they getting back to you? What are the things that they're sharing within those messages that show you they want to have a conversation with you? Not like a big mind-blowing thing. The people that actually want to talk to you have a higher chance of actually becoming a customer down the road. It's going to be hard for you to close someone if they don't want to talk to you. But also the language patterns. They already view Chris as an authority figure based on his content, and they look at Chris as a leader. And that's why Chris was able to not have to build a lot of rapport because the person was already coming to him. And then he's just sharing a lot of information that most people wouldn't disclose, which shows what? That this person trusts Chris. So whatever you did with your content, you did a great job like speaking to this individual, and then him coming to you just shows off the bat how much they look at you as an authority figure and a leader. A lot of you guys may be having a lot of people engaging with your content and like saying nice things under the comment section or whatever, and they may even be reaching out to you, but like maybe your conversations aren't going the way that this conversation is going right now. When you have great content, but you also have the messaging skills to go along with that content, guess what you get to do? You get to compress the amount of time it takes to convert a prospect. A lot of people put content in the bucket of making easy sales, but they take a long time to make. Some people put messaging in the bucket of you can make fast sales, but it's a lot of grunt work. But here's the thing, if you actually have the best of both worlds, you can get easy and fast sales.
One thing to pay attention to is just like foreshadowing here to the story. Pay attention to this date. Okay. That's going to be super important to pay attention to. And just to, before I move on to the next part of the conversation, yeah, like you guys got to understand that if your content does a really good job at pre-selling somebody ahead of time, the conversation can be very easy, but can still get messed up. And a lot of people still mess this up. This is why having that skill and understanding that conversation flow, which if you guys haven't checked out our masterclass, go ahead and check that out, because that'll show you guys how we really go about this process. So when you have these two things in congruence with each other, it's super powerful. So just moving on from there, the last question I asked him was, what are you promoting? Are you promoting a course? Right. He said, yeah, man, I'm in too many. Okay. So he's basically telling me, in my perspective, that he's got a little bit of shiny object syndrome. Right. And I said, yeah, if you do too much, it makes it harder. Actually, keeping things simple is key. And I'll let Jordan like really get into the psychology of what I'm doing here. But keeping things simple is key. Are you in any high ticket programs that you are promoting? And he said, yeah, I'm in them, man. I said, that's a good thing. Which ones? He said, I'm currently working on SAA, TFA, and Legendary Marketer. I said, oh, nice. I'm actually coaching a client with closing sales one-to-one from SAA. How's that been going? Any results? To be honest with you, I'm still trying to crack my first high ticket sale. Been close a few times, but not yet. So things I'm keeping note of, guys, and a lot of you guys don't do this, is the fact that he said, to be honest with you, I'm still trying to crack my first high ticket sale. But up here, he was saying that he's new to it, but it's definitely something he wants to move away from. And I'll tell you, in my head at this time, what I was thinking is, okay, you haven't cracked a high ticket sale. You want to move away from something that's going to ultimately be harder to do, right? And maybe you guys have done this before. You've added coaching services, or you've tried to add on offers that require you investing more of your time to then get a sale in return. And oftentimes that's really, it can help the offer seem more enticing, but ultimately, is that going to be in best interest to you and the person you're selling to? Because now you're trying to commit your time to help them gain a sale, which is putting a lot of pressure on you and costing you more of your time to go make sales for your business. You understand the conundrum? And I'm thinking, if you haven't made a high ticket sale yet, you don't possess the skills to sell the thing that you want to offer, which whatever that is, we don't know yet. But that's just where my mindset's going. And I can see the conversation going that route. It's a possibility. And so I'm like mentally preparing myself for that part of the conversation and where I could direct it. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and let Jordan dig into like the things that I'm doing here. What I will say is there's a lot of pre-framing for me being more of a leader in the conversation.
One thing that I'm like just seeing from this conversation is this person saying he's in too many programs. So I'm thinking maybe in your mind, you're like, okay, it makes sense to focus on one and promote that. So I think that's probably where your mind was at. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was that, and him being so new too. It's like when
Exactly.
you're new and you have multiple products, you don't really have a streamlined path to take people through. And you don't really understand what offer is meant for who.
Yes.
Where in their journey should I be placed? Like it's a very, it can get complex when you have a lot of different things. And if you really want to serve the person best, you got to know damn sure where the path they should take. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page with that. And then just like what you did as far as like saying, yeah, if you do too much, it makes it harder. Keeping things simple is key. So in a sense, like you're giving a little bit of, but you're also doing it in a way where you're positioning yourself as a leader and authority without being like all macho about it and saying it in a jerky way. And then just asking the question, like, are you in any high ticket programs that you're promoting, just to get more intel of what they're doing, like what they have going on. As far as like control of the conversation goes, you're like, oh, nice. I'm actually coaching a client with closing sales one-to-one from SAA. I like that. And it makes sense. You didn't ask, oh, how's SAA going? How's TFA going? How's Legendary Marketer going? I just liked how you were directional with your conversation, and you knew it made sense because you already had a client that you were working with SAA that you were helping get results. You made it focus on SAA. And since you did that, made it logical for you to then ask, how's that been going for you? How's that, like, how have you been doing with SA? Have you been getting any results with it? And mind you, like, side note, like, SA is amazing program and stuff like that. We're not saying anything bad. It's an amazing program, but that's just like what the nature of this conversation was. It was just very natural. It was just very conversational. And one thing too, that I also want to point out, Kristen asked, what's your biggest struggle? What's your biggest pain point? Saying all those buzzwords, this person's just started to outpour what they have going on in their business.
And I just want to make one context here for you guys, or give you guys some context. The reason why I'm able to just right off the bat ask these upfront questions is because they came to me from my content. They're not going to mind you asking them questions. So you might as well ask the good questions, right? And I already got the sense that he was being pretty open, considering in the very beginning, like, he's an open book. And so one piece of advice I'll give you guys is, if people aren't being open book like that, probably don't go in for the kill with these questions. There was mindfulness here. And so that's why, if you're being like, dang, Chris, you're just asking like all these really upfront questions that I would typically get crap for, or they would want me to stop talking with them. There's context to this. I wouldn't be talking this straightforward without content compliments. Okay. So this is a really key thing. So if you guys are having conversations like this, and you're like, when I try and have a conversation like that, I get told off, or I get ghosted, I get this, I get that. It's because there wasn't a pre-sell on you with the content. Okay. Another thing I'll say right before I move on is, I was definitely flexing authority right here by saying, like, I'm actually coaching a client with closing sales one-to-one from SAA. I'm already saying, oh, someone from SAA came to me because they were having problems too. And I'm actually working with them one-to-one to help solve those issues. So I'm like planting a seed of possibly him thinking, oh, dang, maybe that's what I need too. There's a lot of seed planting here. Even with me saying keeping things simple is key. So I'm planting a seed in his head of almost like a seed of doubt, where it's, oh, dang, maybe I should chill on all these things I got going on. So there's a lot of like little psychological things going on here that are, again, I'm playing 2 to 3 steps ahead of the conversation, because these are some of the things that I'm going to want to talk about later on with him. I'm going to tell him, like, keeping things simple is key, because then we can talk about one thing, which is SAA, which is another reason why I talked about SA, not only because I was coaching somebody from SA, but I was like, it was perfect. I was like, I am coaching for somebody SA. SA is something that I do think he should be focusing on mostly, because I did like that program. And overall, I think it's just going to help him get the biggest results because it's so high. So I'm thinking of all these things, but I'm going to continue down here. So I said, hey, keep being honest. That's how you become successful, is being self-aware of what's going on around you. Okay. So when you guys are not getting the results you want, if you guys are struggling doing this or struggling doing that, be self-aware, and then go to find somebody to help you solve that issue, so that then you can move on and get success, right? So I asked him, what's the goal? I know Jordan said earlier, don't using buzzwords, context. When somebody is complimenting your content, you can be upfront like this, right? So I said, what's the goal? Where are you looking to take things? So my focus is working on skill sets. Perfect. Vision in my head is consistent 10K months with affiliate. Perfect. The branching off to do other things after that, like digital course creation or coaching or consulting. Perfect for the offer that I had, right? The aim is to create impact, but I need to get results for myself first. Perfect. In my head, this is all lining up, right? Yep. So I said, man, this is what I do. Now you guys will notice here, I didn't even really have to ask what he tried, because I already knew what he tried to just offer in the call. Man, this is what I do. The client I have in SA is going on that same path and has already made a couple sales. So she's on the way. Boom, throwing out some social proof right there. I definitely have some suggestions for you if you even want them. I just always ask before I start giving advice. Haha. He said, of course, feel free to. I'm going to go ahead and stop right here and see if Jordan has anything he wants to add to that.
That's what I was thinking too, was like all the stars were aligning for you. And guys, when you're reaching out to someone that is warm, that has engaged with your content, but you're the one that's doing the reach out, you may not be able to get away with that right now, especially if they haven't engaged with you first. So if you guys want to know more about like how to still ask like better questions, like using our yin yang frameworks, discretion questions, all that stuff, I would refer back to our messaging masterclass and our cold to close conversation breakdown that we did last week. But I think just the fact that, look at the amount of like messages like you're sending versus like how much they're sending. Right? Because eventually when you start with a conversation, ideally, like it's going to be 50-50, But then as you progress throughout the conversation, it's going to be more of like an 80-20, 90-10, where they're doing like 90% of the conversation, you're doing like 10%, right? And you can see like right here, like they're just revealing all this information to you. My focus is working on skill sets, telling you what he needs to work on. He's telling you what his vision is. Like the vision in my head is consistent $10,000 a month with affiliate marketing, then branching off to do all these other things. You weren't asking questions for all these other individual things that he had on his mind, but he felt compelled to do so based on how he viewed you from your content, but also the way that you were talking to him. He felt even more compelled to share all this stuff with you, which again, like, I think, Chris, you knew this too. Like, I think you pretty much like had this conversation in the bag and you knew that you could help this person just based on how all the stars were aligning, right?
Yeah.
How all the stars were aligning. And I think, in my opinion, there will be people who will tell you that they want your help, but they just may not outright say it. You guys may have stuff like this going on where you're warm leads, but you may not be able to spot it. Or if you do actually spot it, you may have a hard time trying to figure out, okay, where do I take things from there? So I think this is probably like what really did it for you is when they said, but I need to get results for myself first. Is I know you and I love when people are aware like this. They're going to be a lot more open to your solution. So just being able to read those little sub communication type of details that make the biggest differences is very key. And I think you were able to spot that even back then.
I can 100% confidently say that the reason why this person is being so open about all this stuff is because pre-selling myself within the content. So that's more of the stuff that we teach people inside of our Apex Affiliate Mentorship Program. That's more for the people that really want to get into the weeds with things. But that's what we do. You make content like this and people they'll spill you their guts because they already know that you are somebody that they should be talking to and working with. To answer your question, when I heard him say all this stuff, I was like just ticking off the boxes because I knew exactly who my customer avatar was. I knew exactly the person that I wanted to work with. I knew exactly the person that would benefit from my offer at that time. Like I knew all that stuff. And that's exactly the stuff you guys need to know about your offers. You need to know your offers inside and out. The perfect person can show up, smack you in the face, right? And you still won't know because you don't understand your offer. Moving on to this part of the conversation, I told him basically, hey, awesome. It would just take me like a gazillion pages to type out all the advice that I wanted to give him. But whenever we both have free time, we can hop on a call and see if it's a fit. Sound good? And he said, okay, bud, just with regards to the topic of coaching though, I'm currently working with a guy, but he's more for speaking. He does give me some biz tips as well, but yeah, still having challenges. I said, right on, man. Can you do me a favor? And I'll tell you why I didn't really acknowledge what he was saying right here. But I said, can you do me a favor and just schedule a time for a call and fill out the app? It just helps me stay organized and make sure we're a fit for the call. And then I sent him the link. And then after that, I told him, actually, no, I'm gonna hold on to that. I'm gonna let Jordan go in a little bit more in depth on this, why I like just brushed past the other things he was saying and how I got the call booked.
Yeah, the speaking coach is offering speaking. You're offering a sales process that is relevant and specific to the program that he was promoting. And you brushed past that because a lot of people would have gotten stomped by that. It could have looked like that was some resistance from hopping in and working with you. Some people would get stumped by that, but you guys were selling different offers. It was pretty much irrelevant. And that's why you were able to brush it off.
Yes, exactly. And then from a more strategic standpoint, I didn't want to deviate from getting the call booked. I'm also thinking I need to keep this conversation on the track that I want it to go. He already said it sounds good to book the call, to hop on a call. Don't get distracted, okay? Those are like unintentional diversions by people. We can oftentimes very easily read into things and then get off track. You need to understand that if you have a process, you have a flow, you have to stick to that flow, okay? Don't get thrown off track. You're the one driving this conversation. You're the one that has the plan. So why get deviated from that plan? Don't do that. Okay. Again, if you guys don't know the plan, if you guys don't know the flow, go ahead and check out the messaging masterclass and you guys can get an idea of what that is. But in this instance right here, I'm trying to book the call. So I'm going to keep pushing towards booking the call. I'm not going to go off and be like, what's up with that guy? What do you mean you're speaking? And the conversation just goes off into Neverland. Right. So we don't want that. So remember I told you guys, pay attention to that date. It was August 10th, 2020. Here we are, August 11th, right? I sent him the booking. Like I got him to book that same day of having that conversation. So I said, hey, Ray, just giving you a heads up for our phone call coming up. Talk soon. Ready whenever. Awesome, man. Love it. We can stick to our scheduled time. Now, after that, we had the call and I said, dude, congrats on getting into the coaching program. I'm really excited to have you in and watch you get results. Be sure to schedule the onboarding call and fill out those avatar and high ticket sheets so we can get things going for you. Again, super stoked. And I'm going to fight tooth and nail for your first commission. Okay. So as you can see, the conversation went from him liking the content to then me having that short, very blunt, straightforward conversation, which is why you want to have really good content. Okay. And therefore that this whole sales conversation went really fast, really smooth, got him on the phone, obviously sold him and got him in the coaching program. How would you like to have a conversation like this? If you guys have seen people come into your inbox saying, hey, I love your content. Did it produce a sale? If it didn't, then you need frameworks. You need to understand how to use this flow, how to commit to it, how to actually execute it. And that's what we teach inside our 6-figure messaging secrets course. Now, one of the cool things that we did with him, I helped him do exactly what I did here and what we did in the cold to close. If you guys didn't check that video out, make sure you go and check that out. But we just basically used what was taught in the mastermind. And fast forward a couple of weeks later after implementing, guess what he did? He made his first $1,000 sale ever. Boom, got the SAA sale. And just in a couple of weeks too, he said, I finally did it. Every single person that really takes that serious and they really go and implement, they get the sale every single time. Yeah. Every single time. It's very rare that that doesn't happen. So yes, I just wanted to put that in here as a little extra, just showing you guys that like getting the help works. These messaging secrets, they work. These frameworks work. The flow works. So that was the breakdown. As you can see, good payout, good payday, ended up helping the client as well. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of that. You guys got to see a little bit of insight of how we go about things, how we utilize conversations. If you guys have had people from your content reach out to you and you haven't been able to do something like that, or maybe even have warm leads and you're not even having conversations like that, be sure to go ahead and go around in the comments, ask questions, let us know what you thought. Go ahead in the description and you guys can get access to more conversation breakdowns. You guys can check out that messaging masterclass as well. Make sure to check out more stuff from the channel and we will talk to you guys real soon.